It's time for Soccer Talk with FC Tucson.
We are live on another sun-soaked Saturday here to talk about the beautiful game. It's Soccer Talk with FC Tucson on ESPN Tucson 1490 AM and 1049 FM. I'm Joey Putrelo alongside Greg Foster, a managing member of FC Tucson, and Dave Ord of the Arizona Daily Star. We have a couple special guests in the house with us here as well, but first I want to cover the Desert Diamond Cup. Just ended last Saturday. Congratulations to the champions, Real Salt Lake and Devin Sandoval, for getting the Tucson Electric Power Copper Boot. And what a tournament that was.
I agree. You know, that was a tournament where we felt we had a lot of momentum as the preseason went along. There was a lot of great attention in the community, a lot of people traveling from out of town. Ultimately, we broke 2 attendance records almost back-to-back on 2 Saturdays. The response locally has been fantastic, and we feel like we were also able to bring an exciting tournament. I think the format change this year was a lot of fun, having 2 different fields playing simultaneously. It was a blast to stand on the top of the North Stadium field, look down on the field, see a great crowd there, and then look behind me a little bit to the north and west to the grandstand field and see a standing room only crowd watching a game at the same time. So it was a lot of fun for us. I've heard from the teams that it was that they enjoyed the process too, and that the preparation for the season was excellent for them. We'll find out this weekend because they're all having their first games of the season, but that's ultimately the measurement of success of the event is whether this works for the league, works for the team, and works for our community. I think this year it did.
I totally agree, Greg. We had a great 2 weeks there, and the whole month long, the preseason was so much fun for me to cover and wonderful people to talk to. I think the things I'll take the most from it are the packed crowd and the people lined up along the fence, and at the end of the games, guys who were still signing autographs even when the floodlights went out. Kyle Beckerman and Nick Raimondo were still there in the darkness signing away for people. I don't even know what they were signing, probably most of the time. Maybe it was contracts. But really, those are the things I'll take away. And the people I met, you know, not just from here, but from all over, who came on their own, spent good money to come here, and really enjoyed being out here, as we all did.
You know, I also feel like I feel grateful right now that the collective bargaining agreement worked out for Major League Soccer, because I think part of what we experienced in Tucson over the last month and a half was the best off-season for Major League Soccer in the league's history. When you talk about player signings, when you talk about bringing new franchises into the league, New York City Football Club, Orlando City, there really is so much momentum going into this season that I am so happy that the league and the players union could come together and find a way to move forward that both sides were comfortable with. I'm not sure both sides are thrilled with it, but I think they're both comfortable with it. And the great reward for that is going to be, I think, tomorrow night when New York City Football Club squares off against Orlando City in front of 62,000 people in the Citrus Bowl in Florida. That is going to be a wonderful start to this season.
Well, we had standing room only for a couple of those games out in the North Grandstand, and they'll have standing room only tomorrow for that game. So it's awesome. You're right. I was really surprised, actually. I thought for sure they were going to be at least some kind of stoppage for a week or so. And when somebody told me, I was like, this is the best news that could possibly happen this week. So I'm glad, and I think you're right. I think both sides gave in a little bit, but I think maybe for the players it was a slight more of a victory for them, and I wish them all good luck throughout this season. But it was so wonderful to have them here for a month and then have all these teams, and that's the great thing about it too. It's not just one team, it's not just 2 teams, it's not just 4 teams. It was 9-10 teams this time. So look at how many people could come out and see so many great players they didn't know of, players they do know of. I mean, it was just such a blast to be out there.
So once again, congratulations to Real Salt Lake. They defeat the Colorado Rapids in the finals of the tournament. 2-1 was the final score there.
Joey, can I interrupt for one moment?
Sure.
I think I said it was going to be 2-1 Real Salt Lake in the show last Saturday. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, congratulations to you for predicting that thing.
I have to toot my own horn once in a while, don't I?
You should. Because
I get like 95% of them wrong, so the 5% I got to talk about.
Well, again, Real Salt Lake 2-1 over the Colorado Rapids, and Real Salt Lake finishes 4-0-0, undefeated, perfection in the Desert Diamond Cup, so congratulations to them. We have a couple special guests in the studio with us right now, and we'll introduce them in just a second, but they are here because FC Tucson has a proud moment in its history now. We are announcing our new Women's Premier Soccer League franchise, the FC Tucson Women. And so now we bring in the head coach of FCTW, Amy Garelick, and Todd Garelick, the assistant coach. Guys, thank you so much for your time this morning. How are you both doing?
Thanks for having us on. We're really excited.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you very much.
And so you guys are going to be a WPSL club, part of the 10-team Pacific South Division. The past 2 seasons, you guys started off as TSAFC from the Tucson Soccer Academy. What's been the process of moving from that to now you guys will be wearing FC Tucson's crest?
FC Tucson has such a brand in Tucson, with the Desert Diamond Cup, the notoriety that they have within the community in Arizona. We are so fortunate to be a part of that. It's really special for us and the women involved in Southern Arizona and women's soccer.
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited to have this opportunity. We've worked really hard to get this team going, but we are obviously missing some things that FC Tucson will provide, and the FC Tucson Women is such a great moment for Arizona soccer, and really I think it's going to be a big moment for soccer in this country for women. Again, doing things that are far beyond what other people are able to do, and as we've traveled around for 2 years, and seeing the level of professionalism of the league and the way that we keep trying to set the standard, we have now far exceeded any of those standards. When we talk about what other programs are able to provide, no one's going to come close to what FC Tucson Women will provide. And it's a great opportunity for women and for the state of soccer.
Guys, first of all, I think really the honor and pleasure is FC Tucson's, and I want to talk about that a little bit later. But can we break down a few things about what's been announced and what the nature of this club is and this league is? Can we start with your description of what the WPSL is and where it fits in the American soccer pyramid?
Yes, we are actually at the AGM in Vegas talking about the state of the league right now, and there are 83 teams across the country. It's a massive league, and it's been around for a very long time, and it's seen 2 different professional leagues fold on the women's side during that time and continues to move on. Players like Mia Hamm, Julie Foudy, players like that have had a role in this league. They have played in this league. They have helped promote this league. And so the league continues to grow, and at the same time, the level of competition is extremely high, and there are players from around the world that are now taking part in this league. And then when you look at just the league that we're in, the division that we are now in with the FC Tucson Women, we have the last 2 national champions in our Pacific South Division. So there's a lot of talent there and a lot of opportunity to do some great things with that.
Amy, how will FC Tucson Women identify players?
Really, it's going out looking at talented players from Southern Arizona and then expanding to Phoenix and all of Arizona, and then just any other players that really want to participate in this league, which the number of emails, phone calls, text messages that I have had within the last, since our announcement 48 hours ago, is unbelievable. My inbox on my email is flooded with players from all over the country wanting to play, sending me their YouTube clips, sending me their summaries of their playing career. It has been phenomenal, and as Todd said, the professionalism that FC Tucson puts on, everybody wants to be a part of that.
Now, you guys joined the Tucson Soccer Academy in 2009, and then 2013 was when TSAFC started. How did you guys initially start that team?
We were sitting in a meeting with the founders of TSA and some of the senior staff and the PCJSL president, Ted Schmidt, talking about this WPSL team and do we want to have it? And Todd and I looked at each other about midway through the meeting and then spoke to everybody at the meeting and said, well, who's going to coach this team? And everyone looked at us and said, well, you guys are. And that's really how we fell into coaching this WPSL team, which for me has been one of the biggest blessings of my coaching career. It has been a phenomenal experience.
Right. We were always looking for having that next level. Across Tucson, there's so many great women and girl players, but they didn't have some place to go. And we felt like we were missing something in their development. And it was either allowing a platform for girls as they're heading off to college, or players that were in college that had the summer off as a preseason before their preseason, or for players like Kelly, who is our captain of the program, who has finished her career as a player but wanted to continue to play. And how would she have that opportunity to continue playing the game that she loves and has meant so much to her, and how can she get back to a community? There just wasn't a platform to do that. And so that's where this kind of grew from, and created a situation where all different players from all different levels could come together for again, a common goal to be competitive, to play at a very high level and to experience some success.
So, Amy, you talked about starting the search for players locally, expanding it to Phoenix. I imagine that the emails and phone calls you're receiving are from beyond those locations. And we know from trying to develop our local men's team that in order to be competitive on a national basis, I suppose unfortunately we haven't been able to only source players locally. However, we do think that that's the goal. That's the aspiration, is to try to bring as many players through our local system up to the top level that we can. How does our local youth soccer community relate to how you'll form your club going forward?
Well, Tucson has this unique status within the soccer community on the girls' side of being able to develop and produce top college players, and some big names that we have coming in for the Thorns game. It just shows the depth of talent within Tucson women's soccer, and the youth, the players out there playing today in Pima Cup. I mean, they're going to be so excited seeing some of the names that they grew up hearing about at the U of A or NAU, ASU. It's pretty cool.
And guys, we want to talk about with you now. We'll have the Portland Thorns in town here in March. March 25th is when FC Tucson Women will take on the Thorns. What can we look forward to in that match?
Hopefully not a ton of goals giving up. But honestly, we are going to have Southern Arizona's best players coming in and representing Southern Arizona soccer, plus the addition of some great players from Phoenix, NAU, and surrounding states.
Well, I look first at us, and I think the most exciting thing is us walking out with our new crest, with our FC Tucson logo on our chest. I mean, I think that is very exciting. And watching the video and seeing the release and knowing that that's who we are and that's our new role in this community, I think that's the most exciting thing. Getting to play against Portland, we saw them last year when they were in town. Dynamic, obviously a different level of fitness, of play, speed. I mean, things that again, our players haven't usually been exposed to. So it'd be great for our kids to get to see that and our players to see that. But again, when you look at the pool of kids that we're looking at bringing in and the ladies that we're bringing in for this game, I think we can be very competitive with them. And I think it's going to be worth their time to be here. We want to make it a challenge for them as they're preparing for something, with their league and something greater than that. We want to make sure that this is a worthwhile game and that this is something that we will continue to look forward to year in, year out, that matchup that will become a rivalry of sorts.
And then the University of Arizona Wildcats NCAA Division I women's program is going to play the Thorns as well, March 28th. Both games for you guys against the Thorns and for U of A will be at 6:30 p.m. Keno North Stadium. What's your guys' relationship like with the U of A soccer program? And maybe not for these games, but in the future, how can you use the U of A team to help build FC Tucson Women?
We have a great relationship with them. Tony, Kylie, are people that we talk to a lot. We spend a lot of time discussing players, and and again, bring them into what we do. And Paul, I think, will be a big part of FC Tucson this summer. And so, that relationship we have is really important as we look at these two programs having to work together, promoting each other and supporting each other. And we've sent a number of players to the U of A and continue to send players there to compete. And as those players now move on in their program, they will supply those players back to us. Obviously, for that first game in March, we can't have the U of A players competing, but we will be able to utilize kids that have graduated from that program, and that'll be a big part of what we're trying to create is that relationship, because if we can work together with the U of A, obviously we'll have a much higher level of talent on the field.
Are there any particular players that you have identified for this upcoming tournament that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we have Kelly Kearns. She's our current captain. She's in her 30s, mom of 3, and she's just an outstanding mentor and player for all of our younger players. Someone that just is relentless in her passion for the game. And so we have Kelly Kearns coming in. She's our captain. We have Mallory Miller, who is big name from U of A, Tucson kid. She's very, very excited to come in, All-American. She's trained with the under-21 national team. We have Karina Camacho, who is another Tucson native. She played at the U of A and then also finished up at Long Beach State. She's played with the WPSL for several seasons. Allie Dollar, current, she just finished her eligibility at the U of A, front runner. Sam Monahan, who is probably one of the most decorated players coming out of Tucson. She's been playing professionally overseas. She graduated from NAU. And she is back, and she's in for the Thorns game, and we are so excited about that. We also have the U of A assistant coach, Kylie Lowe. She's a All-American also. Let's see, Annalisa Marquez. We have her coming in, U of A player from ASU. We have Devin Marshall. She's very talented player from ASU. Taylor McCarter. She's another ASU girl. She's from Sarita High School. And Jordan Davidson, who played for me in high school, All-American at the junior college level, All-American at Vanguard and NAIA school, and she's coming in. And these players that we have coming in, it's going to be fun. And as you know, with the Thorns game, we are limited to our substitutions. So the players that we bring in, we want to make sure that they get minutes and that they will be a significant addition to our program and that game.
I know you're limited in substitutions to 7, but aren't we permitted to have 14 players on the field at a time against the Thorns?
I thought I saw that email come through.
Yeah,
it's either
I'm
13
pretty
or
sure.
14, yeah.
Yeah, so
And we want to go with 3 goalkeepers to start with, right?
I like that part of it. That sounds like a good deal.
And now you guys mentioned that you have a lot of people coming over from U of A, ASU. Where does college soccer fit into the development of the growth of women's soccer overall?
It's such a vital piece. I mean, we've seen the growth of college soccer. It used to be North Carolina was about the only name people would ever hear about. And you've seen in the last number of years that growth where now North Carolina is fighting to even get into the 3rd, 4th round of the NCAA tournament. The development of our players is amazing here. And again, people from around the world look at our college program and how we develop players, and they all want to be a part of it. They may head back to a league in their home country after that, but they know that the development that what our coaches are providing and the atmosphere in our college programs is so far above anything they would find anyplace else that they need to be here and be a part of it. So that league that we have, the Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, all those programs that exist right now are all so solid and continue to grow some very good players. And you look at that again, how that filters into our national program heading into the Women's World Cup this summer. You see a lot of those players and where they've played throughout their college history and how that's developed them into being national team level players.
Yeah, and you bring up the Women's World Cup. Now, how does that develop into the women's game as well?
Well, that's why this, again, the announcement and us working together and having this new partnership and being a part of FC Tucson Women, what a great time for that. This summer is going to be huge. You have us providing what we're going to do here in Tucson. You've got the Women's World Cup, which is going to get a lot of attention. As we all know, every 4 years, the women's game takes center stage, and everyone in the soccer community around the world is watching what's going on with the Women's World Cup. And so we're just so excited about what this summer will bring with the women's game and with what we're going to have down at Keno.
I want to go back a little bit to where WPSL and FC Tucson Women fit in the American soccer pyramid. Over the course of MLS preseason, we were fortunate enough to house a player who played against Sporting Kansas City, played against the Seattle Sounders, and he had just come through the American college system, although he was a European-based player. And I asked him, what really stood out for you in those games? And he just said, Clint Dempsey. He said Clint Dempsey was at a level that no one else on the field was at when he was playing, and that he was astonished at his touch, at his physicality, at the speed of thought. And I think that, playing the Portland Thorns is going to present a similar kind of scenario for the women that we'll bring onto the team. For the Thorns, are there any players for you that you look at and say, wow, there's a level that is going to impress our players?
Go ahead.
Well, can you just name one? I mean, I think it's the whole team that, last year watching Rachel Bueller. I mean, I know she's married now, and I can't think of her married name, but those players that it's like Clint Dempsey. It's a whole other level. And at times, most of the players that we have played against top players, but not the sheer number of them, where, every once in a while you'll have 2 or 3 really solid players on a team that it's a handful to deal with. Well, here against the Thorns, we're talking about 11 solid players. So as, Todd said, playing with 3 in goal may be our best option. But no. I really think that we're going to put together a great squad, and it's going to be a phenomenal game just to be a part of.
And with Nadine, the goalkeeper, you have one of the best in the world. I mean, what doesn't anybody want to do? They want to play against and with the best in the world, and that's what it is right there. So that's really what excites me most about those kinds of games. Yeah, sometimes the score line isn't what we want to see, but the reality is we get to see really quality professionals at the height of their game.
Right, and again, when you look at that hierarchy and where we will fit in and where other people will fit in, this experience will definitely help impact our team moving forward into our season. And as I said earlier, the last 2 national champions are in our division, and those people that have come out and seen us play have come back and said, I think those games are actually at a higher level than Division I college soccer is. So again, for our players to be able to play in that environment for 8 to 10 games over the summer leading into their college season, it's a great opportunity for preparation as they continue to grow as players.
Todd, I really agree with the comment about it was at the level or higher than the level of Division I soccer, because I've seen them both over the years, and the last 2 seasons of watching those games, especially last year with all the teams in the division you were in, which was a rough division, obviously. The high quality professionals from, even if they aren't professionals in the sense of being paid, from top to bottom. You don't have really a weak link in the 11 that play. You can't figure out a way to beat somebody better than the others, which, at some levels that is the case. So I think it'll be another great year for them, and I'm very excited about seeing this new team play in a division that is without a doubt the best division in what would be amateur soccer, in my opinion, in the U.S.
Absolutely. I mean, the level of play that we play against, it is, every game is, a solid game. We have to perform every game. And last year, the learning curve from transitioning from the Big Sky tournament, Big Sky League, which in 2013 we won, to the Pacific South, I mean, that learning curve was huge. I mean, that first 2 games out in California, it was a learning curve, and we got better every game, and we were solidly competing by the end. But this year, having that last year's season under our belt, now being FC Tucson Women, it's going to be a whole nother, I think it's going to be exciting for Tucson soccer.
Yeah, it was actually kind of odd. The history of the team, the 2 years, your second year was more like most teams' first year, and then I think once you've gotten through that year, even though it was the second year, not the first year, that makes it so much easier the next time you play, not just for the players, but for you guys as well. You know what you're coming up against. You have a feel for some of these players. I mean, a lot of these were out of college players, if I recall correctly.
Absolutely.
I mean, these were people who had 4 years of high school, four years of college, and quite a few years of club action in there. So these were if not professionals, at the professional level.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was. And it was really fun. Last year I called it our sophomore slump. And we got through that. But every game, the girls, the players, the women showed up, wanted to play, gave their full effort. And it was not, sometimes when you have that struggle of a season, it's, it is difficult to get to the game every day and be on. And okay, we might get our butts, handed to us. But every day we got better. And every game, every training session, the girls were in it for the bigger picture and not just, oh, this is a summer team. It's really the bigger picture of getting better every day.
Well, they mentioned their captain, Kelly Kearns. She's going to join us next. Soccer Talk with FC Tucson on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. Thanks again to Todd and Amy Garelick.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Amy and Todd Garelick for joining us on the program. Soccer Talk with FC Tucson on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. FC Tucson with a new women's team. We're going to call ourselves the FC Tucson Women, and now we have the captain of the club with us on the line right now, Kelly Kearns Pierce. Kelly, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy morning to join us. I know that right now you're at some sort of youth soccer tournament watching one of your kids.
Yeah, I am. My two oldest boys actually have a football game right now, so I'm here at the park watching.
Oh, it's a football game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, you have worn the captain's armband for TSAFC, which is now going to be FC Tucson Women, since 2013. What's the transition been like, and how does it feel to wear FC Tucson's crest now?
It's an honor, really. It's something really exciting. We're really looking forward to it. FC Tucson is so successful. We see how far they've come and what they've accomplished, and obviously we want to aspire to be that someday. It'll probably take a little process for us, but, we're excited to do it. We're looking forward for the season to start.
Now, Kelly, your two coaches, Amy and Todd Garelick, had rave reviews about you and your leadership skills and all that you can bring to the team. Can you kind of talk about that experience and what you can do for the younger players of this club? Because there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah, there is, and there has been over the last 2 seasons. And, I think just my age and being the oldest out there, I think they obviously look up to me for that. And being a mom also on top of it, I think I naturally have that leadership role and kind of take on a mom role and want to help them out and want them to do best. Having the experience and the maturity that I have from playing for so long and being my age, I think benefits, and I think they just see that and they want, that's what they've told me they aspire to be. So, any way I can help them and lead the team, I'm happy with.
And Kelly, you used to be a standout at Sal Point Catholic High School and Pima Community College right here in Tucson. Yeah. Since you were playing high school soccer and college soccer in Tucson, how has the game developed for women from your perspective over the years?
Oh, I think it's developed tremendously. It's changed so much, even just the formation of how we played. When I was in high school, we played the sweeper and stopper, and it's just changed in that way. I've seen it grow a lot, too. The talent is unbelievable. The girls out there now are literally like college players. The high school girls that I've coached, that I've played alongside, that I've watched play, they've developed so much, and they're so strong, they're so talented, and that's why we've even had some high school players play with us on the TSAFC team. So it's changed a lot in a few different ways.
Well, hey, Kelly, this is Ted Prezelski. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. The first season, you guys were very successful in that old, I had some crazy name, I think it was Big Sky North, which was kind of weird given where Tucson actually is.
It's still a big sky here, though.
Yeah, but it's not north.
We're north of somewhere.
Yeah.
Of Nogales.
But, last season you guys got moved into a very tough division.
Yes.
And I know that it was very frustrating for you, but what kind of thing are you hoping for the team this year, and what kind of improvements do you hope that the team can make?
Well, I think with FC Tucson behind us and backing us, I think it's going to change a lot. I think there's going to be a lot more interest in the game. I think a lot more girls are going to know about it. Already since the announcement on Wednesday, I've had several phone calls and text messages from old teammates, old players that I played with over the years that I haven't heard from a long time that want to come try out. They're interested in it. So I think having that support, it's going to bring in new players, bring in new talent, and, sprinkling that in with all of us Tucson and local players, I think it's going to be beneficial to us. I think, last year we had a bit of a slump and we struggled, but, we learned from it and we got better from it. And I think this year we can only improve.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you touched on something that I find interesting about the team that I noticed, particularly in 2013, was you guys would have these training sessions that were basically kind of almost, each one was almost an open tryout, because you'd have like 40 women show up, some of whom had no hope of actually playing for the team, but they wanted to get out there and play. Do you think that aspect of this team will continue even with FC Tucson's involvement, or is it going to become a little bit more formalized now?
I have no idea on what the plan is for that part of it. That people did look at that and thought it was strange, but at the same time, us players, we knew that each week we had to perform and that you never had a guaranteed spot. And if you weren't out there trying hard and training well and playing well, you could be replaced. And not everyone got minutes and not everyone got to make that roster, but it was still something they aspired to do, and they were out there working hard regardless. So, like I said, I don't know what the plan is, if it's going to be a set team and we're just going to train that way, or if there's going to be a lot of girls again. I'm not sure on that one.
Kelly, this is Greg Foster with FC Tucson. First of all, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for
having me.
Of course, and thank you for joining the club. The question that is on my mind, and I remember, I think, a profile about you in the paper a year or two ago, but maybe not all of our listeners are familiar with that. What is your motivation for staying in the game for the length of time that you have? Why are you still doing this? You're a busy person. You're a mom. Why do you work this hard to stay in the game?
It honestly just comes down to I have like a true passion and a true love for the game. I've continued playing after college and playing in co-ed leagues and outdoor leagues, women's, men's, whatever, women's and co-ed, sorry. And I just enjoy it. It's a lot of fun for me. It's good for me. I enjoy working out and being fit. And then, coming over on that first season, I didn't know what to expect. I was worried I was going to get cut. I had no idea what was coming. And I fell in love with it all over again. And the whole team atmosphere and having these great coaches coach you and push you and challenge you, and then just being surrounded by really talented players. It was just a lot of fun and a good experience. And, last season I struggled with an ankle injury and didn't enjoy it as much because I was in pain pretty much all season. So I'm hoping to come back healed and ready and have another fun, successful season, because it is fun. The game's fun.
Well, I think I also detect kind of the voice of an advocate when you're speaking, and I feel that when I'm talking with Todd and Amy Garelick also. And I do think that a part of what we're doing is helping to advocate for the women's game. There's a very interesting article out in the last couple of days by Julie Foudy about some imbalances that she believes need to be addressed in the game. And I hope along the way, while we're putting this great team on the field, that we're also able to do some advocacy. I have a feeling you'll help us with that.
Yes, I'm willing to do whatever I can to help, our team, FC Tucson, and women's sports altogether.
Are there any parts of the game right now, as we kind of roll into a Women's World Cup, where you'd like to see an improvement?
Well, on one hand, like the women are playing on turf. I think that's a little unfair. The men would never play on turf for a World Cup. So I think that might be a little biased, and that would be nice to see a change in that, just that aspect of it. But I think the attitude of people, I think it's changed and they see it. I know it's growing. I know they're going to have sellout crowds. I know it's going to be a big deal this summer, and I think that's going to also roll over to us and benefit us. I think there's going to be more interest here locally, and the interest to come watch. These little girls want to come watch something local here in town.
It is kind of ironic that you'll be playing on better fields than the women will in the Women's World Cup. Yeah,
it is. At Keno we have this great field. It's a beautiful stadium. And then, when we the last 2 years going and played, so many of the fields at our away games were not good. You know, they would tear us up, the turf, you slide, and you're raw for the next game. And some of those times we had to go play 3 games in a weekend. So that would be nice to get changed. I know turf is the new thing and what everyone's doing, but it's not pleasant on your body.
Kelly, you have more or less the same division, or the opponents from the same division you had last year, and it was a struggle last year. Do you expect, probably with the new talent that Amy and Todd will bring in, to be a lot more competitive and to not see the season you had, which Amy kind of referred to as the sophomore slump?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way of putting it. You know, it definitely was a slump. It was definitely a struggle. We're going to see pretty much the same teams, I think. Maybe a couple more might be added in there, but we expect it to be hard. We expect it to be a challenge. You know, all these teams we're playing against, you know, we played against they went on to win the national championship, so we know it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be like our first season. But I think sprinkling in, like I said, all these new players and having this new interest and adding more girls to the roster that have experience and have talent and that really want to be out here to play, I think it's definitely going to help us.
You know, it's funny when Greg brought up the issue with the fields. There was one match last year I remember that I traveled out to meet you guys at, and I'm trying to remember the name of the team, but they included players from UCLA, some national team prospects on the other side, but the field was an old turf field that you could see the crumb rubber, like patches of it in different spots, and walking out there, your feet would kind of sink a little bit. I can't imagine how it would have been to actually try to play on it or control a ball on it. It was just ridiculous. But you know, and that's, you know, what's good, I think, with FC Tucson involved now is that, you know, you guys will have, at least your home games will be top-notch professional facilities, because unfortunately I don't think all the teams in that league kind of treat their players that way. No, not at all. And we were lucky last year to have Keno and the facility over there. And now having full access to it is a huge difference. It's going to be really nice because, like you said, when you go to those away games, no field compares to ours. No facility compares to it at all.
You know what, I'm kind of hoping not only for FC Tucson to succeed for itself, but for the women's game to kind of be a trailblazer in what can be done where teams combine together and they put together things like professional staff and these wonderful fields where you don't have to play on things like that. It would be nice if we reach a point somewhere for all men and women, girls and boys to be playing on much more quality fields and with much more quality people backing them. And that's one of the things I hope that FC Tucson can do. They can kind of blaze the trail for something like that. Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome for that to happen. And I think, you know, with their reputation and how successful they are, that that's a big possibility for it to happen.
We've got Kelly Kearns Pierce on the line with us right now. She is the captain of FC Tucson Women. Kelly, your head coach will be Amy Garelick, and then assistants Todd Garelick and Becky Berry. Can you kind of just talk with us about the coaching staff and your experience with them the past 2 years and how you guys will be working together even more this year?
Yeah, they're great. Todd and Amy coached the first year. Well, Becky was involved also, and it was great. A great experience both years, and I've had the privilege, you know, playing on the team for them has opened some doors for me and allowed me to coach now with TSA and Mountain View High School also. And so I've worked with them in numerous places, I guess you could say, and I've had nothing but positive experiences with them. They're great people. They're good coaches. They know the game really well, and they're so good to the players. Becky brings in a lot of experience. She was also a really great player, and maybe we can even get her to put her cleats on this season.
Now, when you guys hold that open tryout that's going to go on in May, how much say are you going to have in bringing some new players on? How much say does the coaching staff give you from that point?
Oh, I won't have say like who makes the team at all. It's not like that. I think as the captain and being a coach also, I think they take my input, but I don't think I'll have any kind of final say. They know what they're doing. They're very experienced at it. They're very good at it. They know the game, and they know the players, and they know what people can do and what they can if they're capable or not. So I think they'll do a fine job.
Gentlemen, any last questions for Kelly?
We haven't asked her how it's going to be to play against the Thorns.
Sure. So, Kelly, you've got the match against the Thorns coming up on the 25th. Yeah. What are you looking forward to most about that?
Well, like I said, it's once-in-a-lifetime experience for some of us to be able to play against those kind of players, the ones you watch on TV, to be able to play on the field with them, against them it's an honor. So it's exciting for all of us to do it. Like I said, I have an ankle injury, so I'm hoping I probably won't know until that week if I'm able to play in that game, but I'm sure hoping I can because, like I said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
I'm going to guess if there's anybody out there who's going to be doing everything they possibly can to be prepared for that game, it's you. Kelly, this is Dave Ord with the Star. It's been great talking to you over the last couple of years. You're a mom of 3 boys, and you have 22 girls, sort of, that you take care of as well as, and then you have your coaching. And I just want to say much respect to you for all you do at every level of the game, and sort of be, for lack of a better word, one of our ambassadors from the start of being a player quite a few years ago here in town, all the way through what you've done now, and we greatly appreciate what you do for the sport.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That's so kind to say. I really appreciate that. That's very nice. Thank you. I hope to continue to do my job and play well and be a good role model or example for these young girls and my boys.
Great stuff, Kelly. Thanks again for joining us.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
That was Kelly Kearns Pierce, the captain of the new FC Tucson Women's squad, and I don't think there's a better choice than her, guys. She's been there. She's had the experience. She's worn the captain's armband the past 2 seasons for TSA FC, and I think, again, she's still got the passion for the game, clearly, and she's the perfect fit.
Well, and one of the things we didn't touch on, in the interview is just how good she actually is on the field for this team. I mean,
she's the Steve Gerrard of Tucson women's soccer,
right.
Really.
Yeah, well,
I mean, when the way she plays and the way she acts and the way she's a great captain and a great leader, she really is almost exactly like that to me. And she will play anywhere and do anything, just like Steven Gerrard can for Liverpool, and will when we get to when he comes over to the MLS.
Well, I wasn't going to go that far, but that's pretty good. But I mean, just watching
on, Ted, go that far.
Well, watching the way she manages that back line when she's there, and it's her, being not just the captain, but kind of that field marshal back there, which was really important for TSAFC the last couple of years.
So, Greg, before we get to the conversation about the MLS season opening up, you want to talk about this article that you brought up in some of the past interviews in this show with the Garelicks, and then with Kelly Kearns Pierce, who just joined us on the phone, by Julie Foudy. It's about the FIFA and women's soccer. So go ahead.
Thank you. We when we brought up sort of the state of the women's game earlier in the show and the Women's World Cup, we kind of settled on an easy issue to talk about, artificial turf versus natural grass. We've talked about that in this show before. It was worked out basically between the players and FIFA in a way that may not be perfect, but also led to some improvements for the women in other aspects of the World Cup. But what also happens when a Women's World Cup comes up is there is a renewed focus on the women's game. And there was an article and some statements by Julie Foudy earlier this week that I think are worth paying attention to in terms of how many women play the game around the world, and then maybe how there's a deficit in the number of women in leadership positions in the game. And I think this is an excellent thing to point out. 30 million women play the game around the world. 30 million women play the game. But only 1 in 6 members of each football federation executive committee is a woman. 1 in 10 referees worldwide is a woman. 1 in 14 coaches worldwide is a woman. And Julie Foudy points out that these are things that we should be working on. And so is funding. So I think that as we incorporate a women's team into FC Tucson, this is going to give us a chance to start talking about these things and hopefully start participating in that what's becoming a global conversation about how to raise the women's game. And I'm encouraged that FIFA did a study, in fact, that identified these issues. At least it's a start.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, there have been women in positions of leadership. I think the person that was the head of the organizing committee for the World Cup in Germany was a woman. But it's funny, you bring up coaching, and you rarely, if ever, get women coaches on the men's side. I think I can think of one example, and that was like almost 20 years ago. And on the women's side, you still have a lot of male coaches, and at the national team level too. I don't know. This is one of the conversations I really want to have a sit down with Tim Graney about sometime. He's done a remarkable job of covering the women's game, but how few of those women that were part of that '99 Women's World Cup for the United States have gone on to be coaches at a high level. I think a lot of them run youth camps and things like that, but you don't have very many of them who are coaching at the professional level. They're not really, if you look at on the men's side, I don't think we've ever had a men's U.S. national team coach that actually played for the U.S. national team, but there's assistants and people in the system, and you can't really find that on the women's side. I think there's been one head coach that actually played for the women's national team, but as far as assistant coaches and things, you don't find those the same way. So we also need to do a better job of cultivating that kind of leadership as well.
One of the things I saw in the article when it talks about the survey of all the federations was half of the federations had no youth development program for girls. That one's what really stands out to me. If they do come through with all that funding, I would really hope that a majority of that goes to that, because that's where it all starts. We don't even have this discussion about how many are in, how many 1 out of 6, 1 out of 10, whatever, are women if we don't get them to start playing at the girls' level all over this world. And I think that's really the most significant part I took from this article.
Yeah, they're also, I think there's also some soccer cultures that are not open to women. I mean, one of the things that was really remarkable to me when Brazil won the Women's World Cup, it had turned out that group had only played one friendly because the Brazil Federation didn't think it was important. In the meantime, they had the best women's players in the world, and they didn't want to showcase them.
Well, fortunately, American soccer on the women's side is really in a position to lead, and hopefully we're going to see that leadership continue and develop. It looks like FIFA wants to double the funding of women's soccer globally between now and 2018. That may be where this starts.
All right, well, we didn't really get to talk about it, but last night the LA Galaxy defeat the Chicago Fire 2-0 at the StubHub Center to open up the MLS season. We'll have more conversation, I'm sure, on the MLS as we go forward here with Soccer Talk with FC Tucson, ESPN Tucson 1490, 104.9 FM. I'm Joey Putrelo with Greg Foster, Dave Ord, and Ted Prezelski. We'll see you next week.